One of the things that I am the most passionate about in the entire world is helping other wedding planners get started. I honestly think it's a bunch of bull hockey when people get all competitive in the wedding industry, because I think there's plenty of space for all of us. And I get very soapboxy on this topic, and I will also die on this hill. If you are interested in becoming a wedding planner, I am so excited to announce that we are reopening the doors of the Union Mastermind. We actually closed them down for a little bit. We were really slowing things down when I had the baby, but now that she is 5 months old and finally sleeping a little bit better, I've got much more brain capacity to help you get your wedding planning business started. Let me tell you, I'm actually gonna pull up, this is literally a comment from a video I posted on my personal channel yesterday. Get this. She says, I love watching you guys so much. I started watching you when I was planning my wedding. I finished your wedding planning course and now I have a successful wedding business. Thank you for being so real. If you have not heard of it before, I actually have a mentorship program called the Union Mastermind where I teach and train up other wedding planners to get their business started, and I teach them how to plan weddings, because if you feel called to this career, it is literally something that like it's within your soul. You're like, I've got to do this. This is so much fun. I cannot imagine doing any other career, and then you go to get started and you can't figure out how. That's exactly what this mastermind is designed to do, is to get your foot in the door, to get you started, and to get you started with confidence. And like Candace wrote on my personal channel yesterday, we do our best to make sure that this program is real. There's no gatekeeping. There's no holding back secrets. I do live calls with my Union Masterminders once a month and answer all of their questions. In fact, that is what today's video is. It's a sneak peek into what these hour-long phone calls, actually they're supposed to be an hour, but oftentimes I go overtime. These live calls look like with our Union Mastermind members, and answer all the questions that they have to make sure that there are no barriers to entry to getting started with this wedding planning business. Not to mention a couple of hot takes as a wedding planner where I'm like, no, we don't do that. No ma'am. We've actually already opened up seats to our email list initially, and we decided to publicly open up seats to you guys as well. I'm gonna go ahead and link it right here if you are interested. Check it out, learn a little bit more about what it is, why we do what we do, and why it is my sole purpose in this mastermind to make you a better wedding planner than I could ever be. Spots are limited, so if you are interested, I highly encourage you to act quickly. We anticipate these filling up pretty quickly. If you miss the chance for this time, be sure to sign up for the wait list, because we open doors regularly as people graduate on out of the program, and we'd love to have you regardless. So even if it says there's no spots left, please sign up for the wait list, because that is where we let people know first, and that's where spots usually get opened up first. Check it on out. I probably already missed the card. It's going to be down in the description box below, but for now, let's go ahead and jump on into a Union Mastermind Q&A so you can see exactly what you'd be signing up for. In this month's call, we are going to be covering business logistics and wedding day logistics. It's one of the things that we love the most, right? Why we joined this career. Well, maybe not why, but we end up getting stuck with a lot of logistics, right? So first things first, be sure to get on the Union Network when you are up and running. You need to be at least 6 months into this thing that we got going on here, okay? 6 months into this, then you can apply to be a part of the Union Network. And that's where we basically send out the list to everyone that's on our email list. And that's, gosh, I think it's over 60,000 people now that are on this email list. So if they're looking for a planner or a coordinator in their area and you happen to be it, we want them to work with you. As long as you hit that 6 month mark, we want to advertise you completely for free. It's one of the things that we do because you're a part of this program that we just get so excited about. If you've worked hard for your business, you deserve to be displayed. So be sure to sign up for that, all right? If you have questions about your mastermind membership, that was a hard one to say. Email us at support@wolferandco.com. If you do a styled shoot, please submit it. If you have photos from your client's wedding, please also submit those. We'll drop those links into the chat. And if you found these calls helpful at all, like I just said, I don't know if it made the recording or not, but to one of the gals that's in here, we are now opening it up to more seats because the baby's getting a little bit older. I have a little bit more of my wits about me, and I can handle mentoring more of a, I was gonna say more of a group, but like we're opening the membership again, basically. As long as your membership is active, paid in full, you have access to the master plan, you can download the workbooks. Please feel free to use those with your clients. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. There's a reason that I gave you access to the master plan. And if you would like to, you can also incorporate using this with your clients as well, as long as you're not giving them access to the master plan, right? You can use that as your planning process. If I, for any reason, don't get to your question, you can always drop them in the forums. It's kind of like our own version of Reddit, but like private, and just to help people who are also going through the same exact process
So a really, really highlighted, tangible Q&A area, comment area where people can kind of, 2 years from now can go back and find answers to their questions in something that they're struggling in. Because the community that we build out of this program is by far the most surprising thing that shocked me from the get-go. I did not anticipate this many people just being like, the community is just their favorite and become my favorite as well. So how much you guys support each other and how much you guys are there for each other. You're all going on this journey together. And I don't mean it like The Bachelor. We're not on that kind of journey, right? But you are all going through this new business together. So to be able to support one another is absolutely huge. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the questions. That is enough for the administrative details. Let's launch into business logistics. Do you think Wix is a good starting website host, or is there one you recommend? I'm a bit hesitant to start with a Squarespace since it costs more. I personally only have experience with Squarespace and Showit, but we're having some trouble with Showit right now because I'm doing like a blog thing for the personal lifestyle brand. So I'm not sure. I can't speak to the difference between the two of them. If you're just looking to get something clean and get it up and running, I would just say go with the lowest barrier to entry, whatever templates you like more. I've heard great things about both of those. There's no wrong answer on this, in my opinion. Unless someone has a very strong opinion either way, this would actually be a really good question to drop in the forums, because then you'll get feedback from people who have experience with both sides. I only have Squarespace and Showit. I will say we are working on tech to help you build out your own website and help you get leads, running them through Google and Instagram and Facebook. So you can actually track your analytics. We are actually building out something, a block-based website with this tech program that we've been working with and absolutely love. So yes, if you are on the fence about building out a website, I totally get that. Hopefully within the next, I don't know how soon, couple of months, we will be launching an option for you to be doing this through this program or like an accelerated version of this program. You're the first people to hear that. We haven't said that out loud to anybody, but we've been working on this for a while. So that would be very exciting. Don't let this stop you from creating your website though. Just do it if it's impeding your growth. Make sure you get that going up and running sooner rather than later. I don't know if James had enough coffee, guys. Okay, I was thinking I might want to plan all kinds of events, not just weddings. Do you think there is a cross market for that? Or do you think that it would be confusing for potential clients? Totally, there is totally a cross market for that. If you go with the term events, you're golden. Corporate clients are very similar and do a lot of the same things that our wedding clients do, but with a lot less emotion because they're just working with a business budget and they're like, go for it. I don't know. Yeah, I've got $30,000 to this event. What can you do with it? And there's less emotional attachment to it. So in a lot of respects, I was about to say commercial events, corporate events are a lot easier to plan. Really and truly. So I think that there's a lot of wisdom in doing that crossover. If you want to secure more corporate gigs, I was actually specifically told this by someone, be sure to say that you are good at vendor management. That's the term that they use. I don't know why, but you'll kind of not be displayed as a corporate event planner if you don't use that term. You'll just look like a wedding planner who's trying to do it. I personally have not done corporate events, but there's a lot of money there. And it's pretty prudent because then you don't have to deal with as much emotion. Although that's kind of why we love this business. Like we love the thrill. We love the energetic high that we get from a wedding day. And it's probably not going to be quite the same doing a corporate event, but still great money in that. How important is it to stay consistent with marketing on all the different social media platforms? Is it necessary to have a presence on all of them? Okay. Can you tell by the deep breath that I'm about to have a moment with you? I do not think that it is necessary to have a presence on every single social media account. I just don't, especially when you're getting up and running. It is not the time for that. You don't have the time for that. If you're spending, 6 hours a week working on reels and hoping you can get the attention of people online, then you're missing out on the opportunity of connecting with clients in real life. I should say 6 hours in reels is fine. But if you're doing that and Pinterest and trying to put together all these elaborate boards, and you're in Facebook groups and trying to build out your Facebook page, and you're also working on TikTok, that's a lot. Right? That's a lot of different things going on. So if you can kind of limit it to one or maybe two different social platforms, double dip where you can, and then focus on getting in front of in real life clients. With this specifically, we're kind of working on an accelerated version of this program. If and once you get through this, we want to launch you into the next stratosphere, where with this website option that we're building out, we want to bring in leads for you. So we're going to get it set up so we can actually show you how to run the tech to get leads to yourself. It's probably more prudent to spend your time learning about Google My Business and how to get ads that way and how to run ads through Facebook or through Instagram. In fact, one of the oldest podcasts that Heather and I did way, way, way back in the day was with Max Sadik, who talked about how to run Facebook ads, which obviously is now congruent with Instagram ads, to get clients. And to prove a point, this guy has literally one post on his Instagram. One post. He books like 10 weddings a year. That's it. And makes buku bucks. He clearly knows what he's doing when it comes to running ads like this. So in my opinion, I think it's important enough to have a presence on all of these different platforms, potentially. I mean, if you want to choose between Reels and TikTok, that's totally fine. I think having a Pinterest presence is great if you have a blog for people to go back to or some sort of home website for them to go to, because if they just see your photos, most likely they're looking for inspiration and then they're looking to kind of dive deeper into that inspiration. So I know Pinterest has a lot of power, but I would keep that as like an option that you'd show to your clients. I think Instagram would probably be my favorite option for this specifically. All right, I'm going to jump over, make sure I'm not missing in the chat. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Katie, for dropping that. That is Max Sadek's store where he literally offers this course. If we could find the podcast that we have him on, though, that link would be very helpful. So do you have to be on all the different social media platforms? Absolutely not. In fact, I recommend that you don't. The only reason that we are as active as we are with like YouTube Shorts, which are just starting within the last week, and Instagram and TikTok is because I'm literally paying people to do this. So if like to break down my videos and post them for me, it used to be all me. We are now at a place where we can actually afford to pay people to do that. But we didn't have the bandwidth to do that before. So give yourself some grace, pick one. Be present enough to not look non-existent. You do not have to be dancing in front of your phone 6 hours a week to be an effective wedding planner, but you probably should have enough posts going on that if someone pops onto your website or onto your Instagram, they don't go, your last update or your last post was like 6 months ago. Do you still exist? All right. Is this thing on? Like, hello. You want to make sure that you still have a presence. Okay. Find it a little nerve-wracking to think about making sales calls because I'm an introvert and can be a little awkward, especially on the phone/Zoom, but I know this is a necessary part of booking clients. Do you have any advice on how I can best overcome this and conduct sales calls like a pro? Okay, I know I've shared at least one of my sales calls in a podcast. Here's how I do it. I have like a framework. And if I read it to you, you'd be like, this thing sounds canned. And I'm like, yeah, it's an outline where I'm literally saying the same thing to every single person that I talk to. But the goal here is to do your best to use active listening, right? So if we could find that podcast and drop that in the chat, that would probably be the best reference. It's literally an actual recording of me talking with a potential client who ended up booking me. So I start off with a few questions, tell me a little bit about your event. And usually what they lead with, it's very much like, oh, okay, this is a strong priority for them. Right? Or they're just going through some of the perfunctory things. I can usually suss that out pretty quickly. If they say colors, if they say venue, if they start talking about bringing their family together, this is all cute, like clues for what they want their event to be like. Then usually I'll ask a question like, if you had to pick, what would be your top 3 most important things for this event? Just like, what do you think? I also ask what their budget is. And then I ask what their ideal guest count is if they've thought through that. And then based on their top 3 items, that tells me a ton. And so I tell them, I repeat back to them what I'm hearing, but in wedding planner speak. So if they're like, well, our friends and family are super important and we're having a lot of people come together for this, we just want it to feel like a relaxing, enjoyable day. I will say to them, I totally hear that. I hear that you're probably going to want to spend a decent amount of time with your guests. It might make sense if you guys are comfortable doing this to do a first look, because if you do that, you might be able to join cocktail hour, spend more time with your family and friends, right? In addition to that, that tells me that timeline is going to be really important. I want you to feel like nothing is happening, right? I just want you to flow seamlessly from one place to the next. And I want your guests to feel that same way. So that means that we are going to run a pretty tight timeline, which is important. You're not going to know that, but that's something that we'll be doing behind the scenes. And I would think that you'd want to focus on good drinks and good food, because we want to make sure that no one walks away feeling like they had crummy food at your wedding, right? So by taking that one point that they made about wanting their guests to enjoy themselves and relax and enjoy their time with their guests, I'm able to turn that into wedding planner speak. Here's what I hear you saying. I would recommend, as your homework, going to listen to the behind the scenes of the sales call. I've got more, and you'll see if you listen to them back to back, you're gonna be like, Jamie is saying the same exact things. Yes, Jamie is. She is saying the same exact things, but it's how you deliver it. So as far as that fear and that uncertainty, if you have kind of a script to go off of, one, that's very helpful. It's hard to screw it up when you've got like a framework or an outline. Here's where I ask this, here's where I ask this, and here are the responses that I'm looking for, right? Then as far as what we're doing here and why we're creating the conversation like this is actually a book that I've been reading recently called Story Brand. I didn't realize I was doing this. In fact, it took Heather telling me a couple years ago. She goes, I think you're doing Story Brand. I'm like, I'm doing what? I don't know what that means. It means setting your client up as the hero. So real quick, like, just going to run you through kind of what the concept of this is. A hero basically goes on a journey, runs into some sort of problem, meets a guide, and a guide takes them on that journey and tells them what to do. Harry Potter, Dumbledore, journey is to kill all the Horcruxes, right? Sorry if I just spoiled that for anybody. Luke Skywalker meets Yoda, learns how to become a Jedi to defeat Darth. There's got to be more examples, but a hero, an imperfect hero, meets a guide that takes them on a journey for success to help them avoid failure. By creating a sales call like this, and you're like, well, Jamie, where did you just go with it? What is happening? By creating a sales call like this, you are actually formatting it so your client is the hero. Tell me about what you want. Tell me about what you're looking for instead of, I plan glorious weddings. This is their wedding day. This is arguably the most romantic day of their life. They don't care, really. I mean, no offense, but they don't. They want to feel like the hero of this day. This is their only opportunity to have a day like this. Well, for most. And so treating that with respect and with dignity and highlighting them being the hero in that moment will be such a better sales process and such a better sales procedure than trying to pitch them on you, than trying to make them want to book you by talking about how good you are. When we were doing a lot more business, we've obviously slowed down, especially with the baby. Our sales booking rate was like off the charts. If I could get them on the phone, if Rebecca could get them on the phone, they would book us. They would absolutely book us. It was very, very rare that they wouldn't because we continued to use this strategy unknowingly of making it about them, answering any questions that they had and searching for the answers that we're looking for in their responses, but making it a hero story for them specifically. A lot of wedding planners can kind of have a hero complex, or the idea of wedding planner is like, I wear stilettos and a cute fanny pack and I get stuff done. Yes, between you and me, we boss mode. But when we're talking to your clients, they're the hero. Okay. Practice, have an outline, focus on them, focus on their story, and then repeat back to them what you're hearing using wedding planner language. All right. What are the best types of tasks that can be assigned to assistants and interns, especially if they have never helped coordinate before? I'm thinking like friends or family while I'm first starting out. Smart. We've all been there, right? Especially if you like hire an intern or someone and it's one of your first ones and you're like, I don't know what to tell you to do. So good luck. Rebecca will be the first to tell you that I am not good at delegating on a wedding day. It takes effort. I also don't sit down to eat. I get hyped, man. Like I'm in it and I don't want to be doing anything else. I love this job. So for a while, it took me a minute to try to figure out what I could assign to people, what I could give them. I would probably have to run through the day of things I'd assign them. Most of the time, the couple's mine. I've had the most interaction with them. I've been the forefront or the forerunner for them the entire time, unless something else is going down. And then I'm like, hey, you're going to be my liaison with the couple. So that rarely happens. Usually what I'll send this person to do is go stand next to the DJ to get them ready to cue for ceremony entrance because they've got a walkie in their ear and an earpiece leading to a walkie. So I can say, okay, ready, set, go, right? Or they can go with the groom's side and I could be with the bride and her bridesmaids and we can talk and communicate via the headset. That is key. I think it's really, really ineffective to have an assistant, especially if you're sending them somewhere else and not having a headset. I will die on this hill. I will never forget the first wedding I worked was with another company and they didn't have headsets. Oh, and their emergency kit was a giant purse that I had to wear the entire time that caused my shoulder to cramp so bad. Towards the end of the night, I was so annoyed. I was like, I'm doing so many things differently. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. But they didn't use walkies and they texted each other. And so like I was texted to let the DJ know, but I had it on vibrate in my pocket because I thought it was tacky to have my phone out in front of everybody. So I do think that the walkie-talkie is key, especially the earpiece as well, because then you can be really discreet about it. So then they can get half of the wedding party ready and you can get the other half ready. You can meet there. You can make sure the bride's hidden. There's lots of that back and forth communication that happens there. They can cue the DJ while you're checking everyone's outfit, checking their hair. I love to do this before they walk down the aisle. I'd love to do this. If you've ever seen a behind the scenes, and I happen to have filmed this part, usually you'll see me standing in front of the couple, adjusting like the wedding party before they walk down, adjusting the pocket square, fixing any flyaways. Sometimes I'll be silly and be like, show me your teeth, just to like get them loosened up, but also confirm that like, hey, you look great. You look fantastic. And very rarely do I see anything that I need to adjust or fix. Sometimes it's a necklace, the clasp is showing, but really that's probably it. But just one last touch of a human being like, you got this, you're going to be awesome. And also do that with, usually it's the bride and her father before they walk down. I'll fluff the back of the train, that kind of thing. 5-minute warnings before you do things. So like the grand entrance, you can send this person around, hey, go let the DJ and the caterer and the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah know that we're doing this. Stay there with the bride to get her ready for grand entrance. They're basically an extension of your brain if you can use a walkie-talkie. Table dismissal. I'm good at this, Rebecca. I'm good at this one, right? I do this one, okay, where I will actually send the assistant to be like, okay, you are going to watch the catering line and you're going to dismiss tables. We never want the catering line to be too, if we're doing buffet style, we don't want it to be too long. So you are going to pay attention to the pacing, the pacing of things. That's all you. You're going to do great. And if for any reason I happen to see that they're slowing up down a little bit, or they're not moving quickly enough, or they're moving too quickly, I'll just signal them from across the room to be like, they're like, okay. Or Jamie had a wedding to her assistant. You know what to do or you'll figure it out. I do not. I do not. Do I do that? Yeah. I do like to instill confidence. So if I'm going to be doing it, I'm like, you've got this. Go ahead and go. If you have any questions, come back to me. It's totally fine. There was one gal that we had assist that was like, hated dismissing tables. Hated it. Oh, also getting groups from the cocktail hour to the reception. That takes forever. She hated doing that too. She'd always be like, do I have to? Like, yes, you have to. This is Lauren. Oh my goodness. She cracks me up. I love her so much. And she'd just be the first to be like, I don't like doing it. I'll do anything else. I'll go set the tables. I'll confirm the table numbers are turned. I'm not entirely sure because I just give them things as I'm thinking about it. I hope that was helpful. It was a little bit of like a word vomit response. So good luck on decoding that one. Okay, who's responsible for making all of the vendors complete their strike, especially if there's no venue coordinator on site at the end of the night? For example, what would you do if the rental company didn't return and the couple is liable with the venue for any extra costs that may incur? This is a great question. In the beginning, Jamie would have stayed. In the beginning, that Jamie definitely was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just stay and not be paid extra. I learned pretty quickly that that is painful to stay like an extra couple hours without any sort of confirmation. However, if you can do enough of the pre-discussion, enough stuff happening beforehand where you contact the rental company and you say, hey, this is the end time. Please confirm that this is when you're picking up, right? We will not have a representative around from our team to sign off on it, to send it off with you. So please confirm this pickup time. Usually there's going to be somebody at the venue though. Someone has to lock the door, right? So that person is typically the one that's going to be more responsible for making sure the venue is returned to the state that it's supposed to be in, unless they require you to do so. Some venues are like, you have to have a representative for the couple or the wedding planner stay throughout the end of the evening and sign off on the condition of the venue. So if that happens, I make sure that my clients know that, and I either do shifts for myself and an assistant or two, or I will let them know and they'll have a family member or a friend do a walkthrough at the end of the night. So as far as this is concerned, most of the time it's like, if it's a professional, I just trust that they're going to get it done after letting them know, hey, it's a firm strike time. You got to be out at this time. And I haven't ever had a situation where a professional has had an issue with this. It's usually the family members, the DIYers, the ones that are like, I'm really tired. Is it okay if I don't break down the cake table? And you're like, no. Sorry, it's not. You have to do that. But typically whatever is DIY by the couple or by family members, my team and I will try to strike that ourselves while the event is still happening. So once it's over, they're just grabbing boxes and loading up their cars. We are tear down ninjas. You will not know that we are doing it. We do it slowly and we're walking around and we're like slowly picking up table numbers. We don't do it at a table where people are seated though, because that feels awkward. It's like, we're killing the party. You wait to blow out candles towards the very end. You don't do those too quickly, but you want to give them time to cool down so the wax isn't sloshing everywhere. But yeah, it's not usually the vendors that are an issue. It's usually the DIY or the family member stuff that's an issue. So with that in mind, I'm usually on top of them pretty early in the evening to be like, hey, are you doing this? Not early, but like aware of it, making them aware of it. And then we do our best to help strike those things. So then once it's done, everyone can get out the door by the time we have to get out the door. Is there a list of every small detail that needs to be covered for a wedding? As an unmarried planner, I want to make sure I don't forget anything. No, there is not. I mean, I'm sure one exists, but yeah, that sounds like a lot. I would go through the master plan, make sure you're watching all the videos, take notes. If you could be just like I was at my first wedding, you could take half the stuff I say and be like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And the other half and be like, I don't think that applies here. Go through the spreadsheets on the master plan. There is the last minute details that everyone forgets. That's a video that we've also turned into like a digital download. If you want to, you can use that as a checklist. But if as far as a list of every small detail that needs to be covered for a wedding, no, definitely not. Because there are too many. That would be the longest list ever, 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 ever. And I don't think that necessarily you are responsible for everything that's on that list, right? And if you are choosing to be, then you need to be a planner that's charging like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Usually in our price range, most people that we work with, the 10 and under people, we don't handle every detail. We let the client figure some of that out. We just make sure that they're on the right pacing, and that they're picking good vendors, and we're reading their contracts, and that we're helping them with their budget, but we're not scheduling their dress appointment, both of their dress appointments. We're not calling their alteration specialist for them. We're not doing those things because we're not getting paid enough to do those things. That is a white glove service, which is fantastic. If you are pursuing that, get it, girl. Like, absolutely get it. But most of us probably aren't going to land there, especially not in the beginning. So that's what we have for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, if you feel that call to come join the mastermind, I would love to have you. Like I said in the email list, we have a list of over 60,000 people that are getting married. 60,000. And if you do a minimum of 6 months in my program, I add you to a list where I share you directly with this audience when they need a coordinator. Like I said, my goal is to make you a better wedding planner than I could ever be, and I'd love to get you kickstarted with an audience of that size. So what are you waiting for? Jump on down there, get signed up, let's get your business started today. And be sure to hurry, because even though I've got some brain cells back because baby's sleeping a little bit more, spots are still going to be limited and you don't want to miss out. And until next week, bye guys.